Hey. But this means that further. Alright. Let's just keep going. It's okay, those. Yeah, got that one. Okay. What happened? Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened. Anything wrong? Oh. That one? I don't know what. From Norway? You? I'm Norwegian. India. Cool. You have any experience with this game yourself, or is it your first time seeing it? It's a really old game. I mean, I don't really know much about India. Would be cool to go visit, but I've never been. So the only things that I really know are the things that we taught basically in geography classes. So not I essentially know nothing at all. So tell me a couple of facts that I should know about, as I know actually nothing at all. Okay, what's some? Give me a couple of things that I should do if I go to visit Lynn. Because I would definitely like to go visit. I'm gonna say it probably isn't likely to happen very soon, but I would definitely like to go visit at some point. Hello. Yeah, I'm working. I work as a teacher. As a primary school teacher. I don't know. So it's a law defining the relationship. Two charges, two electrical charges. A No, I definitely did not know it. I had to look it up. It wasn't something or not something that really has anything to do with what I'm teaching at the moment. Luckily. Thank you. Very nice of you. I don't know about how the school system is in India, but definitely not something that we expect the 9-year-old students that I'm teaching. So, not saying it's not necessary, but it is well above what we're expecting them to be able to solve or no. I mean, I did ask, what's something that I should do if I go to visit India at some point. Give me a couple of things that I should take extra care to experience or do. Ooh, that's cool. Cool. Specifically electrical or physics, I assume? Electrophysics? Or what sort of science are we talking? Science is extremely broad. Are you coming? So, most things actually. Ooh, that's nice. Cool. So I did like back I was in school myself. I did physics and chemistry. But it's been about it's been 10 years since last time I took a physics class. And it's been 9 years since last time I took a chemistry class. So I am a bit rusty when it comes to those two. For sure. Color. So that divided by 11. About would be about like 52k a year, something like that. Slightly more than 50k dollars like, per year. Ooh. So definitely not one of the most high-paying jobs that you can find, but no, would be, or yeah, maybe. I'm not used to having to think in euros. But euros is generally just slightly higher than dollars, so it's probably right. I would assume that's probably right. I don't know if that's higher than... what it is in... Or, I don't know how that compares to the salary of a teacher in India. That's... Like, that's what you would expect to have as a teacher here in Norway after a couple of years working as a teacher. It makes it sound really high, but then again, they're still buying the same things. Huh, okay. So you're saying that that is higher than what it would be in India, right? If I understood you correctly. That I really hope you're missing a zero there. Like, I really hope you're missing a zero there. But I'm not sure. Okay. Is that enough? Or, like, is that enough to live decently well? Or is that, like, barely making it? Or even struggling to make it? So, I'm not married yet, but I will be very soon. And you immediately. Right. I assume, since you're a student, you're probably not. Right? Nice meeting you as well. Have a nice day. Not used to being called sir. Definitely nice talking to you. Hmm. So at the moment, it's 6:30 in the evening here. I assume we're like 4 or 5 hours behind you. Probably closer to 5. Or it should probably be 5 hours behind you. Wouldn't it then be 10:30 or 11:30? So, I mean, it depends on whether or not you're asking about the game or if you're asking about my French. But then again, I'd say both are doing quite well. Hello, planet. I'm at the point where like, I can understand basically everything that they're saying here. I can, for instance, this is a randomized file. Yet I'm still able to figure out what each of the items do. I can watch series in French. I'm close to finishing 7 Deadly Sins at the moment. Is it an anime? I don't know if you're already familiar with it. But yeah, I'd say it's going pretty well, considering that. You already speak French, or does this not make any sense at all? Things going on the screen. Then again, that also depends quite a bit on how much you know about these games as well, I suppose. Do you at least know the games? Are the games familiar to you? Okay, this is a bit rough. Okay. So the main goal of this game is, so you're essentially a rescue team. So your goal is to complete missions in auto-generated dungeons. Nice. Come on. So most other Pokemon games, you're usually controlling a trainer. In here, you're controlling the Pokemons directly. Sorry about that. Okay, that's gonna be super annoying. That is so damn annoying. What languages, or what language do you usually speak? Aside from English, I suppose. What? Okay. Ah. So French is my fourth language. And I am essentially self-taught in French and Portuguese. So I'd like to think that I'm at least qualified to give you a few tips if you'd like. That is completely up to you. But then again, I suppose it basically comes down to what's I would say French is more difficult, or definitely the most difficult. So my mother tongue is Norwegian, as I'm from Norway. And I mean, you're, at least in Norway, you're basically surrounded by English. Nope. So that's not too difficult. Then Portuguese, I found it easier. I'm not sure why. Or maybe it's just that at the moment it's easy and I've forgotten what it was like when I first started learning it. But then again, my goal at the moment is basically to get to the point where I feel like I could have taken up a job in France, speaking only French. And once I've reached that level, I will probably move on to the next language. Then that will probably be the most difficult language after French. Sorry about the delays in talking, by the way. There is basically a 6 or 7 second delay at this point between when you, or between when I say something and when stream is actually at that point. Just I don't have a 300 or 400 megabit connection, which is essentially what you would need to have it almost immediate. So yeah, there is a small delay. What's stopping you from learning German? You said you were considering it, or that you wanted to learn German. What's stopping you? Ooh. Oh, okay. Thought I was getting a bunch of stats. But no. I was losing health. Ooh, but we reached the point where we're storing health. That makes sense. How old are you? What are you studying? It also, I suppose, depends on whether or not you're making it a priority. Okay. So I will either be... there is a pretty decent chance that I will be completely off, but does that mean that you're like 16 or 17? Ooh. I actually got it. At least close to. I see. Yep. Most people aren't born this early. But in that case, it also makes sense that you don't know that much about this game, at least. Because it... it's when the explorers... So this game came out in 2009. So it at least makes a lot of sense that you didn't play it back when it was new. I have never really been too much into FPS games. It just wasn't that popular with my friends growing up. But we definitely had some available while I was growing up. They just were never my interest. I really liked Pokemon, and I really liked strategy games growing up. So those two were basically the main genres that I played. Oh, and I also played a bit of Need for Speed, like racing games. That is very helpful. Oh, and I also played like a little bit of Mario. Some Mario Kart and some New Super Mario Bros. Which is just 2D Mario. Cool. I'm guessing that means he's not one of those parents that were really strict with age restrictions. I have mixed feelings when it comes to age restrictions, I suppose. Okay, this could be interesting. Okay. How long is he going to try that? How long has the 360 been, by the way? The Xbox 360. Because I don't feel like that's too old. And if you're gonna tell me that that's like 10 years old, I see. Thanks. That makes it easier for me. But if you grew up on Xbox as well, then it makes a lot of sense that you don't have a lot of experience with Nintendo stuff. Like Sonic and... I suppose Sonic isn't really Nintendo. But, yeah. I got myself an old Nintendo, or at that time it was new, so I got myself a Nintendo DS. Back when I was 8. And since then it's been all Nintendo and computer gaming, of course. So Xbox 360s was released in 2005. Okay. Right, we managed to do the dungeon at least. Without fainting this time. That's nice. So, the Xbox 360, that's the console that used to have a massive problem with just suddenly stopping to function. Like, you would get a red circle and then it would essentially mean that, okay, you can't use it anymore. Right? Or is that a different Xbox? Yes, the Red Ring of Death. I'm remembering correctly. The only reason why I know about that is because of a video game donkey video. Essentially, the only interactions that I had with Xbox was one of my neighbors had one, and and one of my roommates in later years had one as well. So I've tried playing a bit of Halo, and that's essentially all of the games that I've tried playing. Oof, that is rough. So these are not the Pokemon that they or that should be going. Just that wasn't already obvious. I can't like nowadays I'm just if I'm playing anything console that's usually just Switch, and I could never imagine having to play with the Switch plugged or having the controller plugged. The worst thing about that was because I have had some experience with that was that the cable was never long enough to reach the pouch. You had to play with a controller plugged in. We're talking older or younger brother? He was young. If he's a younger brother and he had a DS, and Luigi's Mansion was probably completely fine. Are you sure it wasn't a 3DS though? Because the DS would be quite old if he got it when it was actually like something that he could enjoy properly. Although I do suppose it's a bit different for you, because in my case as well, back when I started playing Pokemon on my DS while I was my third grade, I was 8 and I didn't quite know enough English to follow it all completely either, which meant that it was a bit harder to enjoy games. I mean, that ended up changing really quickly, but at least in the beginning, I was it was quite difficult. But then again, I suppose it could have had a DSI. That also makes a bit of sense. Right. I do think that we're reaching the point where we should be able to see a few new characters. Oh. I think the main goal at this point should be getting to the point where we can see what Pokemon have been randomized into. Because that's part of the fun of this. Considering it's been randomized. I mean, there really aren't that many games that were translated in Norwegian. So, yeah, playing games was a bit difficult in the beginning, but that also forces you to learn English as well. I don't even think Minecraft was translated into Norwegian at that point. Or, I don't even know if Minecraft existed. Probably didn't. No, it didn't. I mean, at least English, I'd say it probably isn't possible growing up in Norway, not learning to speak somewhat decently nowadays. But I also think that people consider learning languages too difficult. Like, I think it's a lot simpler than what most people actually think it is. Which is basically what this channel is actually about. Like, when I'm not streaming and just showing me, I mean, this is what I'm doing to study French. But when I'm not doing that, this channel is basically about what I would do if I was learning, or how to learn languages, I suppose. Be it with books, games, or anything else. Because I really do consider it quite simple. It takes a lot of time, but I wouldn't say it's difficult learning a new language. Hmm. That still seem like I need settings. Yeah, I don't think you would struggle too much learning German if you just started. But then again, if it's not a priority, then no need to add that on top of everything else that you're doing. If you have a lot of homework, then focus on that. But if you really wanted to, I don't think it would be too difficult. Wouldn't take you too long and wouldn't be too difficult. At least to get to a point where you get to communicate language. Does he know how to speak German? Or is it just that he has a lot of family that was German? Any? Do you have any contact with any of them at the moment? Like, does your side of the family have any contact with the side of your dad's family that is German? That's a bit weird. I mean, great grandfather, that's probably about around World War II as well. So, I mean, a lot of things have changed since then. A lot of things. Okay. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, we also have a Bonsley. Rubin League. Get myself a ride on. How much? I'm assuming you're American just because of your mentioning of high school. Because I don't think they call it that in the UK. And you're only speaking English. So my guess would be either American or Canadian. How much time have you spent outside of the US? Ooh, that's cool. Really? But right. That we had wasn't usable. Okay, so if you could travel to any country, then what country would that be then? I wouldn't say that I've traveled that much myself either, but I mean, most Norwegians have been to either Denmark or Sweden. Then I've also been to England. I've been to France and Brazil. And Spain. So I guess that's a few countries, but compared to a lot of people that I know, that really isn't too much or too many. Italy looks really nice. So I didn't count Italy, but I've been to Italy, but that's only as a little baby. I went to Italy with my parents. I was 2 or 3 months old, I think, a work trip of or one of my dad's work trips. And so I don't really, that counts. Right? That counts. Ah. I mean, owning a shop doesn't really give you a lot more free time compared to just being gone for work, I suppose. Because you're still busy most of the time. And unless you have a lot of employees, then you're kind of stuck there, don't you? And that's a change I don't miss. Come on, please. There we go. Yeah. We're gonna try to do both. Do you think we had one other mission? Yeah. We're gonna try to do the other one. Well. Okay. This is getting quite scary. Okay. Now we've healed up enough. Feel safe at least. What kind of shop does he own? Your dad? I've always found like physical shops to. Hey, it sounds interesting, but then again, it also sounds like a whole lot of hard work. At least he doesn't have to like stock a lot of physical goods, then I suppose. Just supplies to do the actual tattoo jobs, I guess. Basically be it, right? So ink and fresh needles, I suppose. Why am I the only one? Okay. Okay. Why? What? Yeah, that's not fair. Same little brother that you mentioned earlier. How old is he? this last one? Okay. I mean, if that's the same little brother and he used to own a DS, and it would really have to be a 3DS, or it would have to be a really old used one. Right? What? 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 Okay. No pressure at all. It's just I would be really curious to know the reason why a then probably like 6 or 7-year-old had a normal DS. Could be that one. I don't know the French names well enough to not make mistakes. And it has also been too long since I was doing this way back when. So not really a question, but just an observation, because I mean, depending on when he got it, he must have been, or the 3DS would have still been, unless he got it at 1 or 2 years old, then the 3DS had already been out for quite some time. Most cases, or it would have probably been out for quite some time, and therefore at least it doesn't make sense for it to be a normal DS. I've had my Nintendo Switch for 4 years at this point. And so then having a 3DS, or getting that after most people would have gotten their Switch, makes a whole lot more sense than getting a normal DS. I find it hard to believe that you would get a normal DS after most people had already gotten their Nintendo Switch. But yeah, don't worry about trying to find it. It's not that important. It was just an observation of mine. But let's move on to another question. So, what? Your dad owns a tattoo shop. Does that mean he's really good at drawing, or is that not as necessary as I believe it is to run a successful tattoo shop? Um, so let's see if I can help with figuring it out if you can't, but you'll probably manage on your own, right? I mean, one of the main ways to identify it is also whether or not it has a power button instead of just something that you flick upwards, turn it on. That's probably one of the easiest ways to tell it apart. That's usually a sign that it is a 3DS. Yeah, I mean, all of them have that. So that doesn't really tell us too much. Have you tried booting it up? Or just removing one of the games in the back and seeing if that's a 3DS game or if it's a normal one. Or game for a normal DS. Actually, give me a second. I thought I would have at least either my 3DS or my normal DS somewhere close by. Sadly, I was wrong. Yes. Oh. Try removing one of the cartridges that it has. Then, or if it even has one. In it. Oh yeah, it should also have a 3D switch if, and also like a circular pad on it if it's a 3DS, which the normal DS didn't. The normal DS would just have um, like a 4-way pad. That's also a way of telling it apart. Okay. Getting all kinds of Pokemon. Okay. And there's your answer. Wow. This point during my last save file, I had essentially nothing. I think I had one Pokemon that I had recruited. So it doesn't really work like that. You would have to have the cartridges. It didn't really have like a digital memory. Did it? Oh wait, the 3DS had at least some where you could download few games. If I remember correctly. Yeah, I think the 3DS did, but most games for the 3DS were actual physical copies. Okay. Yeah, I do think that most games for that 3DS are probably gonna be physical copies. But there could be some cool emulators, I suppose. I guess that means that the rewards are also randomized, because I definitely got myself a moon. I mean, if it's a 3DS, then they might actually have uh, probably the game that came after this in terms of the mystery dungeon games, well, which will look completely different. But yeah, it could be. Not sure this is really a game that I would suggest playing for someone who won't have a sense of nostalgia for it, considering it's starting to get really old. But yeah, I do think that you can set most, or you can set your 3DS to German, then play most games in German as well. That might be something to consider if you want a simple way to start learning German. But then again, actually sitting down and playing is a bit different than just checking, see what games there are on it. I mean, one of the first things that I always do is set my phone to whatever language I'm learning. I I don't think I've had my phone in Norwegian for at least 7 or 8 years. So that's a neat way of starting, because you'll get a sense for how the language works. Because I mean, at least with your phone, you know where everything is. So immediately you'll know what settings is in German. If that's the language that you choose to learn, you'll know what everything is in the language that you're learning, because you'll know where everything's supposed to be. Yeah, that's also a really good idea. There's a simple way of getting started. I would never suggest, for instance, just doing Duolingo, for instance. Um, I mean, maybe to learn like first 100 words, which didn't take too long. But other than that, I wouldn't really suggest Duolingo. Oh yeah, and learning a language is also a really good excuse to rewatch a bunch of movies that you've already seen. Because you can just put them in the language that you're trying to learn and then studying instead of just wasting time. So you can use that as an argument, which I find amazing. I don't know if you, for instance, spend a lot of time watching Netflix or stuff like that, but these Netflix and Disney Plus, especially Disney Plus, they have a lot of options for just choosing dubs. I think German is a bit similar to Portuguese in that way, where they have a lot of movies dubbed German, even like movies made for young adults or there really aren't that many movies were translated into Norwegian for that age group, so yeah. I think Disney Plus is probably the best for this, but find something that you would enjoy watching if you're planning to make language learning a thing that you spend a fair bit of time on. Hey, okay. I mean, I'm a bit obsessive in that I spend about 20 hours working out per week, but uh, like 7 hours of that is spent on a treadmill, and I just leave my phone uh, playing a series, and thus I spend about 7 hours studying that way as well. So I'll be watching, for instance, Seven Deadly Sins on Netflix, translated into French, and that's 7.5 hours of studying. Ooh, that's gonna be nice. Did you get it? Or are you doing any sports, or is it just workout? You're getting yourself a gym membership. I think it's that one. Ah, so you used to. I see. What is this? Okay. What sort of sports did you used to do? Ooh, tumbling and gymnastics sounds really cool. I've always wanted to know how to do a backflip. I'm just so careful with it. Have you been doing gymnastics for a long time, or? Okay. Let's complicate things a bit. Yeah, I guess I never asked, but I don't even know if you're male or female, I guess. Because I had the impression that you were a guy, and I realized that I never really asked. And doing chair and such, I mean, you'll see guys doing it, but it is way more common for girls. So my main reason for thinking that essentially I mean, most people that watch live streams are usually guys, is my impression. But yeah, I might have been completely wrong on this. Come on. I mean, that's also another reason or just based on the students that I have in my class, it's still not that normal for girls to be into stuff like Pokemon, so just trying not to make sexist assumptions. I mean, he might start ay, ay. They might start arguing now that that isn't true. But my fiance, she definitely was that into Pokemon before she got to know me either, and now she's sort of been forced to learn a bit. I lost everything? Yikes. Okay. Oh, I had a citrus berry. Yeah, I guess you end up being affected by the people that you go with. So you don't have a lot of female family, I suppose that will affect things. Yeah. That's nice though. I also spent a lot of time in nature growing up. Some of my fondest memories are just going out immediately after getting home from school, or just staying out the entire day during summer vacation and just playing around with friends, like playing football, just being social with friends. So I definitely get that. I've never gotten stung by bees. I've gotten stung by wasps. I think twice. At least once. I think it's been twice. But yeah. That sucks. This is a monster house. No. Gosh. Why? That makes sense. High school must be nice then. Like, or, though I suppose high schools could also be a lot smaller. That must force you to at least get to know someone, right? And it probably makes it easier to find opportunities to spend time with others aside from your family. I mean, that makes sense. So my cousins on my mom's side, I haven't seen for like close to 10 years at this point. But definitely don't have that. That's just cruel. Okay. That must have been a big change. What would you prefer now? Living in the city or living in the forest? Or close to the forest? Like, where you don't have much going on. Which do you think is better? Living in the forest, that was a bit wrong, but... in the countryside? Or on the land? So, another thing, like, back when I was 15 or 16, it is fairly normal for guys my age start watching. Is it normal for like that is normal girl thing as well now? Because it definitely wasn't that way. Or although I suppose it is a bit different. You're doing it like vertical streaming because that ends up as a YouTube or together with YouTube Shorts, I suppose. Is it normal? Because back when I grew up, it was barely normal for guys to watch streams. So is that a normal thing now for everyone? Or is it still predominantly a guy thing? Because I don't think that's something that my sister-in-law does. Definitely don't think it is. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it probably is. You probably know a lot more about that than I do. I mean, what's common for girls and guys your age? I won't even try to argue. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's not necessarily that it's moving off of platforms, it's becoming easier to stream on YouTube. And I think Twitch is also coming out with vertical streaming, if it isn't already out. That might end up changing. Right, I think I'm gonna make one attempt at this dungeon as well. And then I'm gonna call it after that. Yeah. I mean, you're probably right. Plus, streaming before used to just be gaming. So that probably changed up a lot as well. I mean, I'm essentially still just doing gaming. I mean, I'm doing it for a purpose, but then just I happen to be streaming it. But yeah, you're probably right. I do also think that this just shows... no, it still shows up as gaming. But I can't... This game is even too old for me to select it as a game to stream. Which is kind of funny, I guess. Heck did it come from? Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure I would call this a casual game though. I think it could have been like way back when it came out, but now I don't think I would have called this a casual game. Of course, more hail. Okay. But yeah. I mean, due to be having to do long distance for a while. I've definitely spent a lot of time just playing casual games with my fiance as well. So I do think you're correct with that one. That's interesting. I mean, that's the reason why I'm doing a game like this. Because, I mean, most Pokemon games, they don't have that much story, or it's not that important. I think the story in this game is just really good. But you do lose a bit of that when the person streaming it has put it in French and you don't speak French. I do feel a bit bad for you in that regards. Yeah, I think Red Dead Redemption is a great game in terms of story. I haven't played any of it myself, but I've seen enough of it to know that the story is amazing. And it also looks really good. Or Red Dead Redemption 2 at least. Yeah. I mean, games that have a lot of room for you to just, I suppose, play around and do things that aren't necessarily super optimal. Yeah, they are a lot of fun. And I really like that freedom as well. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption is definitely one of the more graphically impressive games there are. Not that. Not that. Come on. How long? Ooh. Yeah. Have you seen? Have you heard of Baldur's Gate 3? Or maybe you've even played it. Because that is, I mean, I've never played it, but that's supposed to be like one of the games with the most choice. Or with the most player agency, I suppose, that there is. I think that there are supposedly like more than 300 endings, at least. Might be way more than that as well. And those endings are based on the choices that you make. Yeah, that's just fair. But yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with Baldur's Gate. Either. I was considering buying it, but at the moment I'm kind of in saving mode, so I'm not planning to spend any more money than what I need to spend. Yeah, I agree with that. Right, did it. We're gonna get through this dialogue, and then I think I'm gonna call it there, actually. Yeah. Let's see what games we're playing back in. I think that's back when I started trying to play a bit of League of Legends. I was playing RuneScape. Those were basically it. I yeah. We're gonna save it here. Call it here. But it was really nice talking to you, and I had a lot of fun playing tonight. So yeah, hope to see you next Sunday. If I don't end up streaming a bit more before that time. Yeah. Have a good one. Bye.